Chapter 4. It would be his first decision with little time to make it. If he made the wrong choice, a race could be destroyed. He must organize the teams properly or people would die. Time was short and events moved at a hectic pace. This happened to be his first leadership position. He had recently worked a second training rotation on a transport ship under his older sibling's command. Like his brothers, much was expected, and especially in 60's case, the master pattern had predicted possible significant things in his future. 60 appeared next in order for a management position on this task and fit well given the humanoid design of the Taxian race. While a young race, the old ones had interacted with them over a number of generations. Contact existed since some of the old ones' early attempts to contact civilizations before learning their lessons on when to best approach a new race. Luckily, with the Taxians, their interactions did not result in turning the race in a bad direction, as had happened in other early events. The first leadership rotation dealt with saving the Taxians from the transition of their old yellow star to a red star. Anything going wrong in some or this entire race would be lost. The old one's sensors had detected the signs of star transition later in the process than normal, much later. The signs of a star transition were well understood, but like a life form, each star had its own unique timing. Variability had to be accounted for in this organization and planning, and the responsibility to account unexpected timing shifts fell to the team leader, 60. In this case, because the signs came very late in the star's transition process, it left only weeks to completely evacuate the planet and save the race. 60 found himself working against time. Time had a massive head start, and at the moment, time appeared to be winning. A key part of the planning of a shift and a race's location included the identification of a new home planet. Terraforming of an existing planet must take place. A planet matching their needs needed to be located, or a new planet had to be created. The master pattern computations started as soon as the need for relocation had been identified. The answer returned from the massive computations subsuming all the major computer power of the old ones. They appeared close. 52% chance identified the best decision focused on creation of a new planet in a star system 20 stars away. 48% pointed to the correct decision being to execute terraforming of an existing planet 5 stars away. No planet within the galaxy currently met the needs at this time. 60 as a leader needed to make the decision. Since this happened to be the first leadership position, many around the Old Ones community watched to see which decision he made and how he made this key decision. He needed to make the call now. No time to wait. The star transition schedule ensured he couldn't wait. Creation of a new planet would take additional time, but terraforming an existing planet had a number of studies required to take place. Does the existing planet have any life forms that might be now or in the future headed towards a process of evolution, resulting in an intelligent race? Is the star going to stay stable long enough to make a difference? Are there effects existing on the planet creating a danger to the race to be transported? Gravity, chemical processes? Why was the calculation from the master plan negative against terraforming that particular planet? The lead ship appeared around the home planet. 60 prepared to transport from the lead ship to the surface to talk with the leaders. It would take over 150 of the old ones' massive transport ships to move the population and the key articles that needed to be protected. In addition to the population, plant life and other animal life needed to be transported to ensure population continuation. A large part would be done through DNA sampling and reconstruction, but not all that would be handled through sampling to ensure the proper food chain could be maintained. 60 began the process to transfer to the planet's surface to begin to meet with the leaders. His mind raced through the information available, and he made the call through the galaxy communication system connected to his mind. He had already completed the negotiations to collect the necessary fleet ships required for transport. In the short period of time since being assigned the task, 60 laid out the expected schedule for transport and robots' assignments needed to complete the loading of the transport ships, accounting for the star's variabilities. Taxari, you are now my lead to prepare the planet for reception. I've decided my call is to create the new planet in the star system MCT. Too many unknown factors are found in the computations, giving the time frame available to attempt terraforming of MCQ. Our latest survey showed a few life forms, and given the computations from the master plan, we need to look elsewhere. 60, are you sure? It will take extra time and resources. Pull what you need from the grooming effort in system MDY to start the work immediately. We will move the population at slow speed to give you time. Just remember, the longer it takes to prepare the planet, the more ship resources we will need to be pulled on to support the process of preparing the food chain. Our ship resources are limited given the expected star change in NNV beginning to be staffed. It comes down to getting the planet ready at maximum rate to support all the necessary shifts we need to account for within our galaxy's asphyxie. We have a fair amount of work to prepare the population with the necessary genetic changes to allow them to interact moving forward. This will also take time, and we need to do this during transit. I understand, 60. I am directing engineering resources now and will begin the process as soon as they arrive. I should have a timetable laid out for you once I talk with the engineering team lead. Thank you, Taxari. I will contact you once transport is organized and underway. Keep me updated of any difficulties. In the blink of an eye, 60 appeared outside the large structure of the main city, where a meeting of the leaders from around the planet had been called. 60 headed for the front door entrance when sounds of yelling caught his attention. 60 looked off to the right and spotted an open field with a number of young children playing. One small boy sat on the ground away from the others, watching. 60 had been given little interaction with other races in his early years of training, and the image captured his imagination. Given time, he would like to explore this further, but now he had more immediate actions. 60 entered the chamber. The 43 gathered leaders of the Taxian turned as one to acknowledge the entry of this great alien being. The old ones had visited the Taxian world over the past generations, but the meeting occurred few and far between, normally just a stopover to make sure the young race progressed well. This meeting was a much more somber nature. 60 began. We have provided the available data. Your sun will transition within weeks. With its transition, this planet will no longer be habitable. My name is 60, and I've come to lead the effort to relocate your race from this planet. One of the older men stepped forward. We thank you for your help. We have seen the data provided in the warning transmission. We have no choice but to leave. Can you tell us what the plan is? 60 was short but concise. We are beginning an effort to create a new world for your people. This will take some time, but until it is ready, you will be relocated to our transport fleet. During the period of transport, because of the danger of biological contamination, we will render you safe to interact with other outworlders. In addition, we will be transporting parts of your resources and food chain. Those transport ships will support the process of expanding the key factors when installed on the new world. We will work hard to keep your food chain intact, allowing you to grow and expand. When does this process begin? The apparent main leader spoke as the leaders glanced at each other. 60 simply commented, "It has already begun. I need you to return to your homes and inform your people to gather all their families and precious items to be ready for transport as soon as possible. I will need you to help us identify collections of information needing to be transported. Robots will appear where there is a person signaling through a simple arm waving. You can provide information about what needs to be transported to the robots, and they will ensure all people and their belongings will be transported. Please, go now, and please hurry. Time is critical." The leaders quickly left to begin their work with their people. 60 received word ships were beginning to appear in orbit around the planet. The massive effort had started. Robots had already begun to appear on the planet's surface with programmed instructions for sampling DNA, of every plant, insect, animal, fish, virus, germ on the planet. People on the planet began to see swarms of robots everywhere, busy doing data collection. Chapter 5. As 60 left the hall, he walked over to the field where the boys were playing and sat down next to the young boy watching the others play. As the small boy became aware of this tall, strange alien sitting next to him, he smiled. He had been taught in school about this ancient race, and he had often imagined meeting one of the amazing beings. 60 began the conversation in his sing-song voice, speaking Texian. "Hello, my name is 60. What are the others doing?" The young boy looked at the tall alien. "They are playing Why Not. Haven't you played the game before?" "No, I never played games." "What is your name?" "I'm Tia." "Why are you alone? Can't you play with them?" With a sad look on his face, Tia responded, "I'm not very good. I tend to play alone." The answer seemed to trigger something in the great alien. "Can you show me your home?" The simple question excited the young Tia. The great alien wanted to be with him. "Sure, come on." Tia rose and headed off the field, quickly turning towards the nearby coast. They walked, observing swarms of different designed robots traveling everywhere, sampling the planet. The two talked about the young boy's life and why the robots had appeared. The 7-foot alien and the 4-foot young Tia walked down the sand towards a small home, sitting away from other homes, but just off the black sandy beach. The two new friends approached the house. Tia stopped to show 60 his small Why Not area where he liked to play alone. He began to show the old one the simple rules of the game every child on the planet knew by heart. After a short time, a message came across 60's communications. The planetary team had formed up at MCT, and the initial deployment had gotten underway. The communications ended. Another came indicating the need for 60 on the lead ship to review the next planned steps. 60 turned to his now young friend. "Tia, I'm sorry, but I need to leave you. I'm being called away on some business. You need to go home and pack all your personal things. You and your family must leave this planet soon. I will see you later, I promise, my young friend." Tia didn't understand, but as indicated, he turned to return to his house where he saw his mother and father outside stacking boxes. Tia stopped and looked back after a few steps. 60 had disappeared, having transported back to the ship. The old one's ships were massive rectangular boxes connected as if a young child simply stacked them. Each block structure covered over a mile on a side, and each ship contained thousands of blocks. The ship design could not be called sleek. Designed for space and massive transport work, it would not support movement in an atmosphere. 60 returned to the ship, indicating to the computers he wanted to make sure Tia and his family would be located on his ship. For some reason he could not explain, this young, simple boy had formed a bond important to him. He had grown up with no contact with other less advanced races. Interacting with this young boy seemed to create a connection he never felt before. Soon after he returned, 60 observed planning for environmental capture uplift had reached a point in the plan, now ready to be executed. After reviewing the details, 60 gave his go-ahead, and the robots began the next step in the process. For identified sections of the planet where no taxion existed, the robots planted strings of special units matching the inner dimensions of the special ship sections. Once the units were positioned, the computer registered the key volume mapping from hundreds of feet deep in the ground and hundreds of feet into the atmosphere. Each section transported covered a mile on a side, designed to fit the special ship sections. The complete volume transported into the designated ship compartments using the connections between the special units. Life forms living within the volume transported to the designated ship compartment, providing a complete taxion environment for transport. Once the transport completed, the computers began the process of recycling the atmosphere and, where necessary, water volumes to ensure the proper mixing continued to take place. The computers had already analyzed the environment for key information about expected moisture content and star radiation levels. The computers managed the environment to ensure consistency from their previous location on the planet. The process repeated for well over 1,000 sections of the planet. Each section contained coastal environments, including fish and other water-based life. With each transport taking place, robots rushed to reposition the special transport units to capture the next indicated planet volume. The lift rushed into full swing as ships continued to arrive in orbit. Computer-controlled robots transported to the surface immediately upon arrival to attach transport dots to Texians and their possessions, ready to leave. Other robots rushed to set up transport stations to move large storages of historic information to maintain the Texians' history. In addition, thousands of robots scoured the planet, looking for any uniquely unidentified DNA not being transported. The dance looked random, but the coordination complexity resulted in maximum efficiency. Computers continued to monitor the star through position sensor systems as the transports continued loading. Indications began to arrive fast and furious, indicating the star appeared to be nearing its transition phase soon. The pressure to complete transport and leave the system continued to rise as increasing solar storms raised the outward flow of radiation from the star. The Old One ships in orbit had to adjust to the increased radiation and pressure effects on their massive ships. The workload increased to add protection to the planet and continued to support the population not yet transported.